we're going into the Age of Restraint, so maybe finally something about ancient Lemuria for us to learn about the origins of all of those magical artifacts. Witness the Age of Restraint, in which an ancient society cracks down on dangerous technology. Yes, exactly. What happened there? I've been asking for such a long time. We've got, yes, flying saucers, some sort of buildings, giant statues, super advanced tech. So first case is Fruits of a Disobedience, a tragic occurrence in an ancient orchard. Yes, how many magical artifacts will those people be using, right? Because obviously we know about the idol and like some versions of it with the disarranger and other things, but who knows what other magical things they could have here. Well, they're in some orchard with alien-looking trees, really. There are just the shoes here. Or, you know, shoes with legs inside, but someone just got sliced from the shoes up and the tree got sliced. I guess they just went clean through the whole thing. Those people are zapping. See, the range is short and its uses are limited. My children and I obeyed the charter with exactness. I assume my husband, Tanis, told you the same thing. Okay, so they were already having problems with, you know, people using technologies in a dangerous way or trying to control it. So you deny that misuse was behind this. Raska, before coming with information, nobody will be punished, okay? They actually have, like, the idol-like crystal on his head, and it's glowing and stuff, so that's interesting. Technological Abuse Report 792013, offense, violation of national restraint policy, location Tanska Orchard, Xenopolis, evidence fused organic matter, culprit to be determined, punishment, memory removal. Yes, so the Age of Restraint, which is the name of this DLC, and this is something we learn about in the museum chapter of the base game, right? This was where they were starting to see the dangers of the technology and try to control it before the complete collapse. We have to do names, and he's saying Raska something, so she's potentially Raska. Yeah, and the location was Tanska Orchard, so that's potentially the family name, so he could be Raska, Tanska, and her husband Tanis, if we can find him. We've got something here, okay, some other device. Like, there are different attachments with different symbols on them, and so they do different things. Those people here. Be calm, father. I will miss Luram as much as you will. Aren't they simply ensuring that the truth is revealed? Okay, so the person that was killed was Luram, potentially. She's got some sort of tablet. Why the Yeldas should inherit the orchards? My brother is lazy, his wife is disrespectful, my nephew is useless. All three Lurvels have yet to prove their worth to the orchards. My parents will see the truth soon enough. Property of Nada Yelda. Okay, so she's like, my part of the family should be inheriting because the other part is useless, and she's also got some tools. So potentially the family name is not what I said here with Tanska, but we'll see. Her name is Nada Yelda, potentially, if she's got the thing. Unless she took it from someone else. And my son was just killed, and they raid my orchards and strap us in Veridolas like we're liars. Okay. Veridolas, is that the crystal things on the head so they can be questioned about it? Okay, well, we have a couple more people here. My colleagues are interviewing your family members separately. Please recount your day to me. Okay, so she's also part of some sort of investigation police. I went to the Glutfruit Orchard with my grandfather for the harvest. What else is there to say? I harvested Glutfruit. Like, is the color of the text of importance? Because obviously I know this is different colors, but I'm just like, is it to do with those devices they got strapped on their head where they indicate whether you're lying or not? So like, green might be the truth. So he went there with his grandfather to harvest, but saying I harvested Glutfruit is not the truth. Like, when she says this you know, device is calibrated correctly, she's not lying. But then when he says nobody will be punished, he himself is lying about this. And then that would imply that, hey, you're saying I'll miss Luram as much as you will. That's a lie. She won't miss him, but when he says my son was just killed, that's the truth. I mean, that's my assumption for now. But yes, couple more people, another investigator. Before giving your testimony, let's make sure your temporary Veridola is calibrated. Repeat after me. I am a sentinel. I am not a sentinel. The canal is pink. The canal is blue. Okay, yes. So here we're getting into the whole truth and lie. Because they're a sentinel and they are not a sentinel, so that's truth and that's the lie. But then for this person, that should be reversed. Yes, I am a sentinel. Yes, that's the lie. I'm not a sentinel. That's new. The canal is pink. The canal is blue. So obviously here it will be the same because the canal is pink. That doesn't change depending on who's speaking. Sir, the family members with me in the Spite Fruit Orchard used only our approved tools today, and everyone stayed in their assigned orchards. Yes, so everyone was using the approved tools as far as they're aware, right? Like that just means they're not lying from their knowledge, right? This is a device that I assume it knows whether that person is intentionally lying, but obviously it doesn't know the whole truth, across the world. And so if a person is saying something because that's their understanding, that will not be detected as a lie, but it might still not be the whole truth. And there's a piece of paper. Lomori, if we finish before your uncle and aunt today and prove that the Yeldas are the lifeblood of those orchards, I will take you to Spielden's performance. Do not disappoint me, son. Okay, so this is Lomori and Yelda. So there's that's the Yelda family. So Lomori, Yelda, which means they may not be Tanska, those people here, right? Because she was saying the Yeldas should inherit because the Lurvels are not worthy, so the other family name may be Lurvel, and that the Tanska is just the name of the orchard, not of the family. Because I kind of jumped to, maybe the orchards are named after the family. So we're the two different family members harvesting the different parts, right? Because if we finish before your uncle and aunt, so they're the people on this side, and that's the other family here doing this side of the orchard. Because he says he went with his grandfather, which I assume that's his grandfather. So they're both Yelda as well. And then she's from the other family, Lurvel. So Luram is the dead guy, so it doesn't seem like we're naming him here. And Tanska is the orchards. But yes, there's more inside. We have fruit. Okay, so they're harvesting by materializing the fruit from the trees into the warehouse. Oh, and that's maybe what the symbols are, right? So based on which symbol there is on the machine, it goes to a different container. So something's wrong here because this blue fruit that should be in this container is materializing into the triangle. Harvesting assignments: glut fruit, Adam and Tanis, Spite Fruit, Nada, Lomori and Raska, Bait Fruit, Lurum and Vel. And then we have, that's the guy that was destroyed. Okay, that's the family here. Yeah, the man is not breeding, and he's got combined with the tree that was also disappeared. And yes, he was assigned to this line fruit, or at least that's what he was holding. So we have this person saying, no one did. Please let us grieve in peace. Whatever happened today was an accident. Where did you take my son? Okay, so she's lying when she says no one did, but she's not lying when she said it was an accident. But obviously, again, that might be just to her knowledge. So what is she replying to? Your son is being questioned in the Spite Fruit Orchard. This is all standard procedure for investigation. Why do you fear us? Okay, so he's telling the truth. An approved harvester could have not caused this atrocity. Which of you broke the charter? Okay, so they're yes. This wouldn't have happened with normal machinery, but what did you do? And when she says no one did break the charter, she's lying. So she's aware that someone was using something they shouldn't have been. We've got this poster. So we've got, the harvester machine. We have to actually label it. Safety charter. Farmers may only use approved harvester comprising of the neck, extendable for use on bait fruit plants. Hind keeps raised range to about a hand's length. The rule corresponds to a specific bin portal. Transmitter pointed at ground during use. Grip for holding. Safeguard supplied by the Sentinels. Prevents targeting of any matter except fruit. Prevents invalid harvester configurations. Okay, so from this, we can like name some of it. Well, so there is the grip for holding, right, which is likely this back handle here. Then there is the, yes, ferrule corresponds to a specific bin's portal, which we knew the ferrules were the pink shield fronts that were marked with the symbols that match the bins, right? So we have those here, and if we go outside, they have stuff here with different versions. So actually this here, hidden in the bushes, right? It has the two different symbols on them. Or like one part is here, one part is here, and this front here, I assume this is the unapproved part that they're hiding instead of this circle part. So whoever was supposed to be using the circle part was doing things they shouldn't have been. But yes, that's the ferrule. So then we have the front part here. Considering that's the one was replaced and then hidden in the bushes, that might be the safeguard that's supplied by the Sentinels, because it also has the symbol that was associated with Sentinels. So the safeguard is here, and this is the kind of business end of the device. So we still have the neck that's supposed to be extendable, the tine that keeps the raised length at about half a hand's length, and the transmitter pointed at ground during use. Okay, if we go outside and look at how she's holding this thing, I mean, she's like touching that bit. So this cannot be the transmitter, right? Because the transmitter is pointed at the ground during use, which would make no sense because that's the bit you point at the fruit, right? Then you have this bit. Could be the extendable neck. Okay, but actually the way she's holding it by the blue part, right? So she's holding it here. So is that the grip? And then that would make sense. This is the transmitter because that is pointing at the ground while she's using it. So then we have the tine and the extendable neck. So the tine is about keeping it to the short range. And this is what she's touching, what she's talking about, the range. So is this the tine and is this the neck? No? Is it the other way around? Yes, okay. So okay, we've labeled the device. We still have the names and we have the fruits. So FM and Tanis were assigned to the Glut fruit, Nada, Lomorian, Raska, Spite fruit, and Bait fruit, Lurum, and Vel. Tanis is the husband of Raska because she talks about it. So actually, it might be him. It might be this guy, because that would make sense with them being, you know, the old people in the family. But yes, because the family is like, he's the deceased guy, but they're like two splits, like those people had multiple children and then therefore those children had further children where their cousins involved, right? Because she's like, my brother is lazy, his wife is disrespectful, and my nephew is useless. So yes, there is like at least 3 generations here. But yes, that would make this guy Tanis, but then I've got those names somehow messed up in terms of the surnames are all wrong, I think. Like some people are Yelda, but like I think she's Yelda because she's got the tablet that says she's not a Yelda. She's Lamori Yelda because that's the letter she has on her. So those two are in the same family. But then we know that there has to be a Lurvel's family that is a brother. Oh, so the brother is probably who was killed then. Because she says, I will miss Lordam as much as you will. But she's lying about that, so that would be yes. The brother's lazy and his wife is disrespectful, and therefore they are the Lurvels. But that means yes, she's the daughter, and that's why she has a different surname. So the original family name is the Lurver. So even though her parents' name would also be Lurver, she means the brother and his wife and son. She doesn't mean her actual parents, even though they have the same name. So they are Lurvel, and he is Lurvel as well, and that's his wife. And so even though he says this person says I went with my grandfather, that doesn't mean he's Yelda. That's likely the son of the Lurva family that she says my nephew is useless. Okay, so the guy that died is called Luram. So him here is Luram, we do have to name. And Tanska is the name of the orchard. So then from the assignments we can... The other two names we have left for people is Vel and Ethan. So he says, I went with my grandfather to get the glut fruit. And Ethan and Tanius was assigned to the glut fruit. So his name is Ethan, and that leaves this woman to be Vel. Okay, something is wrong. 2 or fewer incorrect is like someone's name would be flipped, but that's obviously not the case. Or I've got 1 or 2 surnames not right in terms of, you know, who's in what family. Potentially there is something going on with surnames, because obviously I'm assuming surnames again in the very Western way of like the father's name, like the wife takes the man's name and that name is passed to all the children, right? But that's not necessarily what's going on here. Potentially, if yes, the orchard is called Tanska, as are the, you know, the heads of the family called Tanska, and then the children have their own surnames. Yes, okay. So in the end, it was the orchard's name refers to the current owner family. I've just then applied the incorrect logic of like, well, if the son was Lurvel and his family was Lurvel, that means obviously his parents must have been Lurvel, but that's not what's happening here. So I wonder how the surnames work here. Well, that's sorted. Got a bit confused, but that should help us with the fruit, though, right? Because if it says Ethan and Tanis harvested good fruit, and then we go, he's got the dot thing on him, then would that mean those are the glut fruit? So this is the glut fruit. Then Lurum and Vel, the guy who died, he was assigned to bait fruit, which means this pink thing here is the bait fruit, and then a spite fruit is the yellow thing. Yes, so we have the orchards now. Who was where? Okay, but first we have to fill in the family, right? So based on what we already done with the names and the family investigation, we know that this guy, Lurum Luver, Vel is his wife. We have spouse here, Vel. And then Ethan here is his son, so child. This is his sister, right? Nada is like my brother's useless. So again, sibling. This is the parents. And this is the child of the Yelda family that would make them a nephew. Yes, okay. Got that. Yes, so in the orchard, who was in which orchard when the death occurred? Now, we have the assignments on whether people should have been, but the important part is that when he says, I went to the Glutfoot orchard with my grandfather for the harvest, he is not lying, but when it says, I harvested Glutfoot, he is lying, right? So he may have gone to the Glutfoot orchard, but then he was doing something else, and obviously the weapon that was used to do this, right, with the line shield, which is where the dead guy ended up, is hidden on the Glutfruit side, right? So I think I have my suspect who did it. So he was here near this place where he then hid the weapon, and it says, I went with my grandfather, so you went with this guy. She wasn't here originally, she's just showing the thing, but she was originally in the triangle because that's what she has on her thing. That's why this is going wrong. So she was harvesting the spite fruit originally. So she was here in the yellow, but we have to figure out which of the trees specifically. Well, the dead guy was here, and he was there with Vel, his wife, so she was at the other tree. So we just have to figure out who was at which of the spy fruit trees here. Because I assume they have to be correctly assigned to their positions. Like, it's not gonna work to just put them anywhere, right? Well, I guess everything's correct. I can't undo it now to check whether, you know, I had to put them in that order, or it was just like, no, it's just which orchard they were in is enough. That's all of the kind of intermediate challenges solved. Actually, before we get into the events, I still have a missing word and 4 missing spots. Because, yeah, I think there's this here in this area where we have things here. Modifying time requires modify safeguard to work. I'll need to adjust this as well. Then it will be so much more efficient. Better reach means quicker work. I'll test it today. I'll prove that Nada is wrong about me. Okay, so yes, they were trying to modify the devices in order to make their work more efficient so that they could be like, no, we're actually worthy of the orchard and the sisters lying. And we have Tavik Ptu and Marina Frepo have joined hands in marriage. In line with Lemurian tradition, their new family will be Tavrina. Oh, okay, so this explains the whole how our surnames formed, because he is Tavik and she's Marina, so Tavrina is basically take their 2 names and construct the surname, which, yeah, if they were Luram and Vel, Lurva is their surname, and this other family is Yelda, because it's Nada and someone else. Okay, well, I've solved the names before I saw this, but that's fine. There, as always, there are clues for everything. Just have to not miss them. I'm still missing something though. Also, I like that they're so advanced that their newspapers have animated GIFs. So what else? Oh, this poster. Luram Lurva handles a good fruit. Okay, so this was another thing for the fruit. Tanska family orchard voted best fruit planters in Lemuria. Okay, so that was also another clue for the names, for everything, which I've already done. But that's all the words and all the spots, which means now the events are a thing. So, well, it starts with who was doing the modifications, right? Who was doing all of this? Well, if it says Nada is wrong about me, which is this person here with this thing, right? My brother's lazy, his wife is disrespectful, my nephew is useless. One of them was doing it, and we know from the positions in the orchard and the way that this device is hidden, it seems to me that it would be this son, right? The Ethan Louvrel, son of Luram Louvrel, who has been killed, who actually used the device. So he accidentally kills his own father. He was not trying to do that, right? He was just trying to prove that his family, you know, deserved the orchards, that they weren't useless. So was it him who modified it? If it says Nada is wrong about me, because she says that he's useless. So FM, Louvre, modified the harvester. Something of a harvester. Well, it says here that the modified time requires modified safeguard to work. So, yes, he modified both the parts. The time of a harvester to something, right? Like, he clearly tried to make it, like, more efficient so that they could, you know, harvest potentially the whole tree at once so it would be super fast. But obviously, didn't quite work out because it takes out the tree and then the person and all of that. I mean, so extend... range could maybe work, but in the process the safeguard was also removed, modified, right? They had to do a different safeguard. I guess extended range makes sense, because he could do it like the normal safety. Normally the time keeps the range at about a hand's length, but here he's able to use it from the other side of the stream, right? That's way longer than a hand's range. So while he was in the Glutfruit orchard, FM Lurville aimed a harvester at this orchard, right? The bait fruit orchard, but Lurville was also by the tree, right? Was behind the tree. We don't have tree as a thing, so he was inside the range, and so was killed with it. Nope. Again, I feel like I understand that, yes, they modified the device in order to, like, the two siblings and their families are basically in conflict over who gets to inherit the orchard from the grandparents. or from the parents. And so they're trying to be like, oh, you know, whoever harvests more, we can prove that we're better at it, right? We can outdo them, and therefore we deserve to have the orchard. And they're like trying to get their children to, you know, make sure you're doing it right, make sure we're winning. And there is proof that yes, they had a modified harvester. Someone was working on a modified harvester, and it required both the tile and the safeguard to be changed. But I am not using the right words. Like, the thing I don't like about it, personally myself, is this whole, he aimed it at the orchard and he was inside the range, right? I wanted to be talking about like he aimed at the tree and he was behind the tree and then they got fused with the tree, but there is no word for tree. There is plant. Could it be plant instead? So he aimed it at a made fruit plant, and he was, because we have behind, but yes, this is getting better. So he was behind the plant, but then yeah, he was fused with it, not just killed by the thing. There we go. Ooh. We can continue. Yes, F.M. Lurwell wanted to prove that he and his family were assets to the orchard, so he created a more effective harvester. However, in the process, he made it much more dangerous and accidentally killed his father. Afterwards, Sentinels arrived to investigate the accident. Yes, but this is kind of speaking, I guess, to the general situation in Lemuria at the time, right? Where they're having all of this technology and there are dangers to it, and whether by accident or malice, things happen. And so even with all the rules, they're still struggling to restrain people and all of the issues it creates, right? Work chat between all the Sentinels. Top 3 highlights from last night's drinks event. Go. Easy. Loverboy serenading you over the PA system. Please do not remind me. Keep dreaming, sweetheart. Moving on, how about your flawless impression of Ptala? You sneezed without authorization, prepared to be vaporized. My masterpiece. That was amazing. Speaking of Ptala's wrath, how could we forget the old-timer speech about ending the restraint policy? I was merely being ironic. It was quite the manifesto. Soon all Lemurians will agree. We have the power, but are unwilling to use it. This cannot stand. The strong must dominate the weak. So much fuss over a drunken joke. Joke or not, we might have to tell mommy and daddy. Better safe than sorry. No, please, I beg you. Ptala has no sense of humor. Relax, they're messing with you. We all know you would never have meant something like that. All right, of course. Very droll. Haha. Yes, things are very tight, right? Whoever's in charge seems to be kind of losing grip on this whole problem of people abusing the technology, and are trying really hard to calm down on people in order to stop it, but clearly it's not happening. So what's next? Court of the Sentinels. Lies, punishment, and a dance of deception. Okay. Is this the spell dance again, right? The thing that we've already seen in the base game where someone has learned this dance through the memory transaction. But obviously that's where it came from. That's what they were using. We've got this UFO looking thing with many posters and things. I assume some control. To avoid hypocrisy in their sacred mission, handling unsanctioned technology outside of Sentinel's duties is forbidden. Okay, so this is like Sentinels needing to obey rules as well. To maintain the humility befitting their station, seeking wealth or status beyond the purview of a Sentinel's responsibilities is forbidden. So they're kind of the original Sentinels that later their kind of mission gets basically the first Sentinels in the later Lemuria. I guess they sort of take inspiration from it, but obviously they don't have full records of what was happening because so many things were destroyed. To follow the letter and spirit of the law, any attempt by Sentinel to take the law into their own hands is forbidden. To devote their attention fully to the work of cultivating a safe Lemuria, allegiance to any outside cause or movement is forbidden. Then we have this poster, high ceremonial clothes of the Sentinels. Yeah, that's what they're supposed to be wearing. Use of the library's printing and formatting machine restricted to scribe of the Sentinels only. Yes, you're only allowed to use the printer if you have the right permissions. Wow! Okay, this is possibly the most words I have gotten from a single thing. Okay, we're doing that thing again where we have to interpret the dance. But now we have new things. New things were added. The additional effort required to discern the meaning of the spell then carves its message deep into your soul. Okay, so I mean, they were talking about in the base game how this takes months to learn to do the dance, but them projecting it onto the street from the ship means that kind of everyone has to be able to understand the meaning of those moves, right? Because otherwise, like, why would they be projecting that if people can't read that? But there is more things. Guidebook of Spiel Dance, first draft, for approval by Scribe of Sentinels. Daria, this is excellent work. I will make a few minor formatting adjustments and then my copies. Don't listen to Ptala. I am confident your performance will change hearts. Okay. So this was the first draft, but this is the final draft. Like, things may have changed. There's another piece of paper. I feel like I can trust you with a great secret, but I cannot tell you openly. Pay close attention to my performance tonight with your guidebook at hand. I have a message just for you. Dispose of this after reading. Okay, so there some poses will be changed, like, oh, change this with that, and then there will be a different message maybe. Okay, and there's this box here, a gift. Well, you're not allowed gifts or something like that. Yes, you're not allowed wealth or status before your responsibilities. So no gifts for you. There is something up top. Okay. They're doing some sort of zapping and someone's in a really weird outfit. During routine security check last night, library found free of any foreign objects. Hallway surveillance of Sentinels who enter library today as follows. Okay, this might be some sort of surveillance robot then. Herald Zins, Advisor Kib, Scribe Sift, Performance, Technician Kara, Assistant to Beret. Okay, so this is like from sunrise to nighttime, and this is the timeline and who was in there at what time. There's overlaps and stuff like that. So that's who was where and therefore why they're accused of something. That's recorded statements of the Sentinels. I entered the library this morning, but only to retrieve translation materials for the masses. Tala arrived and spoke with me, then we both left. I have never seen that device before this tribunal. Okay, some device has been found. Recorded statement. Hector Sift sent me to the library to catalog a recording. That's when I caught Gim Gim, still in his clothes of high ceremony holding that thing. What else could I do except run and call for this tribunal? I didn't want to implicate myself by speaking with him. My duties as Prime Sentinel do not require me to enter the library, nor would I ever handle forbidden technology unless I was depositing it into the vault. Am I not above suspicion? I was in the library alone and I didn't see anything unexpected. Perhaps he brought the artifact in with him. But why did he do it? I would never so thoughtlessly violate our code. Yes, I entered the library to speak with Daria concerning her message to the public, lest it be an insufficient rebuke. I believe this incident validates my concerns, how quickly technology has corrupted one of our own. Okay, so we have this person saying, yes, but I've done nothing wrong. I mean, I didn't know. Okay, so the rest of them is assessed as they're not lying, but he's telling lies. I've done nothing wrong. I didn't know. Question 2, that doesn't belong to me. Wait, hold on. Question 3, I have no clue who put it there. Damn it, just let me explain. Okay, so he's trying to say he has an explanation, but not really, and he's also kind of lying. Unless, this device can be tricked into giving a different ruling than it's true. We have this thing here, 9:45, variable command received. This is Prime Sentinel, More da Silva, open the door, analyzing command, correct command given, scanning Veridola, Prime Sentinel status confirmed, running open vault. Okay, so someone went into the vault using the voice commands or something, but could have, I don't know, been lying. Okay, so this is the artifact from the orchard, right? This is what they used there. So it was confiscated, but then retrieved. Okay, we still have all of them to click on. I don't know what he's talking about. Perhaps it's best for us to seal him away till we return to the capital city. Okay, that's them sealing him. Can't there be another way? She's got some paper. The Fabus. Ensure all Sentinels have a clear view of Harold Zinn's Spelden's performance. Please catalog your recording of the performance in the library immediately after changing. Bah, we have heard your lies and your vile deceptions. You are in violation of a sacred statute. The specifics of your sins shall be sorted out at your trial. First statute tribunal. If a forbidden artifact is discovered in Sentinel's possession, a tribunal shall be held. The Sentinel, under suspicion, must answer the following questions. Okay, that's the questions. Question 1, were you caught handling this forbidden artifact? Question 2, does this forbidden artifact belong to you? Do you know where this forbidden artifact came from? Okay, so that's what he was answering there. If the Sentinel admits guilt, refuses to answer, or answers untruthfully, they shall be immediately detained in preparation for a full trial at a later date. Other Sentinels shall offer statements concerning the incident. So that's what the questions were for him. So he's basically claiming, I don't know who put that there, I just kind of picked it up, right? Listen to me, I never touched that thing. Daria, please tell them. Okay, so he actually truthfully claims that he didn't touch it even. He was just seen near it. So he's truthfully saying he was caught with the artifact, but he's lying when he says it doesn't belong to me. And he has no clue who put it there. Or at least he's assessed as doing so. Again, who knows about those things? It looks just like an object we confiscated from the orchard. I gave Sentinel da Silva one to deposit into the vault. How did he get his hands on another? Why are we not questioning him further? How did he smuggle this detestable thing onto the ship? We must determine whether he has an accomplice amongst our ranks. Well, big suspicion. Okay, well, we have all the wards, we have everything unlocked that we have to do. So now we just have to put it all together. All their names, okay, that will all come from what was various things that were said here. Like she had a piece of paper that like Bethab's. So that's presumably her first name. There's Harold Sins. We see a bunch of their names are on this timeline, right? So they're not associated with them directly here. But we also get some bits of information, right, are in this work chat here. They're talking about Ptala's wrath, right? And there is a bunch of them here, except one guy who's not, so that might be like he's the prime sentinel, so that might be Ptala, that guy. I mean, I assume we can get that from the rest of it, like here saying prime sentinel. Oh, but this is more da Silva, because yeah, this guy, he's not in that work chat. Yes, he's prime sentinel, and here it says prime sentinel Morn da Silva. So is that his name then? Who's Ptala then? Because that's a name that is here as well, but potentially that person's not here at all. They're like even above the people that are here. It says Ptala arrived and spoke with me. Okay, so Ptala is also a person here. So who else is not in that work chat? I guess the person with the longer white hair. So yeah, this person here. I entered the library to speak with Daria. Yes, I entered the library this morning, but it retrieved translation materials for the masses. Ptala arrived and spoke with me. Then we both left, right? So those two people. Oh, because this is probably their surname. So like Harold Zins, but that's not the same names we get in the statements because they refer to themselves in first name. So we'll have to connect to those things. Well, so I think this person here will be Ptala then. And this person here will be Daria, because they're talking like, I entered the library to speak with Daria. And she says, Ptala arrived and spoke to me. So she says, Heiko sent me to the library to catalog a recording. That's when I caught Gim still in his clothes of high ceremony holding that thing. So the person being put away, frozen, that's Gim. So then we say that Daria and Ptala were the people in the morning, right? Because she says I went in the morning and then the other person came. So it would be Daria Zins and Ptala Kip. So then she's got, this person says, Heiko sent me to the library to catalog a recording. That's when I called Gim still in the ceremony. So that would be Gim being in there. And that's her walking in on him holding it. So her Gim name is Kara. And then this person walking in is the assistant Duaberry. So that would leave this guy to be Heiko Sift. Okay, that's all good. So then we have the dance, right? The dance projected for the public translated to Well, that we get from that other room over here with the that was the public version of it. So here we can look at this. So first they do like one hand down, one to the side with locked press. So that's like invention maybe. So it goes, the hand goes up. Invention. Then what do they do? So then is this the next pose? Because they do this, then they transfer to like hands behind the head. Because pointing the head is knowledge, right? Because that was to do with like pointing at body parts related to specific things. It could be without, like they're crossing behind the head. Without something. Humility from this hands. And then they turn with arms up and down. Yeah, so is this way. And then this sort of chaos. Yep, okay. We have the statements, right? What explains the statements being true or false? Okay, so we have to assign this to things in the room, right? What explains it? Interesting. I've done nothing wrong. Okay, so this is about the various rules that are imposed on the Sentinels. So like holding unsanctioned technology outside of Sentinels duties is forbidden, right? So I've done nothing wrong. That's a lie, right? Because the rule 1 says you're not allowed to handle unsanctioned technology. So that would make sense. Maybe that doesn't belong to me. So this is where this might be coming into, like, there's a secret message in the dance, right? So this could be someone telling them something, because there's also this thing that's a gift, right? Someone giving them a message of like, I have something for you or whatever. And again, we have this work chat, right? Where it's like, yes, lover boy serenading you over the PA system, right? So he's like, please don't remind me. That's the guy that's being sentenced, and he's serenading her because when she's replying to her saying you, right? So he has a thing for Daria, and in here, this note says, Daria, I'm confident your performance will change hearts. So this is Daria sending a message to something saying, I have a secret I want to tell you, pay close attention to my performance. So when Daria performs, she hides a secret message for someone, potentially for Gim, and then she's like, I have a gift for you, right? And that's why he lies about, I don't know who put it there, I don't know, it doesn't belong to me, because she did that, like she framed him, or, maybe she did, maybe she doesn't know, maybe whoever else, because this says like, I will make a few minor formatting adjustments, right? They move things about in the final translation to that, so that they can frame that person without Daria knowing. It's like, yes, here, secret's here, and then gift is here, but on this piece of paper, gift is moved and stuff like that. So it may have not been Daria, right? Whoever changed the paper, whoever wrote this note did that, and then they use that to frame Game for something, but Game thinks it's Daria, and because he's in love with her, he's not gonna tell on her, right? So when he says that doesn't belong to me, it's because, well, the gift is either for that doesn't belong to me or I never touched that thing, right? Because he didn't touch it because he was still in the box, so he wasn't directly touching it. I have no clue who put that there. Is a lie, because I think of the notes in here, he thinks it's a secret message from Daria, right? And that doesn't belong to me. It's a lie, because he received it as a gift. I do wonder about this. Devote their attention fully to the work of cultivating a safe Lemuria. I wonder if that's part of, you're not even allowed the relationship, so even that would be breaking the rules. So actually, it's not about the artifact, I've done nothing wrong, right? It's about the rule here, the 4th rule, that he's not devoted fully to the safe Lemuria because he's also in love with one of the other Sentinels. I think I never touched that thing, maybe because it was still in the box, right? He doesn't actually take it out, but he's just looking inside the box, which is enough to make the other person like, why do you have it? Why do you do it? And then that doesn't belong to me. Well, I'm kind of both the things in this bin are like, it could be work for either, right? Because he thinks Daria put that there, but it also doesn't belong to him because it actually does, because he received it as a gift. Actually, maybe that doesn't belong to me is a lie because he receives it, so it kind of belongs to him through that. I never touched it, or it doesn't belong to me, no. He, again, this is a lie because he has the clue, I put that there, but I think it's like, he has a clue, but it's not correct in terms of, he thinks it was Daria, but it wasn't. But either way, he's lying. He knows something about it, right? So, I mean, like, the gift box, I'm not sure where it belongs. The person that catches him. So she tells the truth when she says, that's when I called Game still in his clothes of high ceremony holding that thing. Which means he was holding it. It is not a lie, she saw him, right? So him saying I not touched it because it was still in the box is not a correct explanation for him not touching it. So this poster, the only thing on it says the high ceremonial clothes of the Sentinels, and the statement she gives is like, I found him holding the thing in his clothes from the ceremony. So is that something to do with it, right? Like, just because, you know, that statement so specifically calls to it, still in his clothes of high ceremony, because he's wearing those clothes here, right? Like with the symbol. Yeah, like, is that significant that they're like wearing gloves as part of it? Because that would mean like, I didn't touch it, right? Like, that would be make it the truth, because he didn't touch it, he was wearing gloves. Sneaky? Okay, almost. I mean, I might be wrong about this whole thing being in love. No, it's just about not owning technology that's forbidden, right? I was reaching way too deep into like, oh, it's because he's not committed because he's in love. That was silly. Okay. But what actually happened? Yeah, someone brought us something aboard the something. Aboard the ship, I assume. Yeah, an artifact. Forbidden artifact. Who brought it? Because it's the thing from the orchard, right? Because that's why he's talking about, right? Because there is a record of him going into the vault. I'm the prime sentinel, so I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't go to the library. I wouldn't handle the technology unless I was taken to the vault, right? But he could have. He could have done it during the dance when the other people were busy. Yes, this looked like the object we confiscated from the orchard. I gave the Sentinel da Silva one to deposit into the vault. Yes, so Sentinel da Silva would know it's in the vault. So he brought it onto the ship. Yes, Hector Sift brought it to the ship to just to have it deposited. Okay, well, that's a hard sentence. That someone, something as something from someone and send it to whatever. Because of this someone, okay, so this is the part of because of this game Kara translated the dance as, yeah, whatever the actual hidden message was. I have to figure it out. Then Bethabs so game Kara holding the artifact and something as something. So yeah, she saw him, ran and called for this tribunal. So she called a tribunal, yes, called a tribunal. At the tribunal, game Kara was detained for having violated the first statue in the end, right? We were saying he's lying about doing something wrong because the first one says you're not allowed the forbidden artifacts. So now, yes, I have to figure out the secret message and I have to figure out what is this sentence here? Like, it's definitely something to do with this, right? The secret message situation. Yes, this is only the scribe of the Sentinels is allowed to use this, and Sift is the scribe. Is that what's supposed to tell us, that he did that? That he did the secret message? Because Daria's Daria's the herald, right? That would make sense that she does the dance. And I mean, unless someone broke the rules and they used the copy machine, that would sort of imply that Hector Sift forged a note from Daria Zins and sent it to game Kara, right? As this is under the assumption that they are obeying this and therefore only the scribe is allowed to use this machine and print things, right? And therefore print those things in order to make the adjustments for the hidden message. So it says like the figure here, but this down here, because it's obviously this is invention without humility sows chaos, which, you know, would not at all make sense to replace one word here. But if we transpose all of them, so invention move to here would be I love you, find, gift, within, butterfly. Oh, okay, that makes sense, right? So yes, this person changed the guidebook in order for this to align. So this says I love you, find, gift, within, butterfly. Okay, yes. Oh, there's some things going on here. Did the scribe do this themselves, right? Did they plan this themselves, or did Daria ask them because they, they wanted to get Game off her back? Heiko saves smuggle a forbidden artifact onto the ship to frame Game Kara. Knowing what questions would be asked of a suspect in Sentinels tribunal, Heiko laid an inescapable trap for Game that exploited his infatuation with Daria Zins. Yes. But why? Why did he do it? I assume some sort of larger plan. Universal transfer device. It's the idol! This powerful contraption can execute a number of commands pertaining to life, memory, matter, and more. Though it was considered dangerous in previous eras, the Sentinels used their universal transfer devices for a strictly essential purpose. It is used to excise dangerous memories from perpetrators, but the automaton that holds the device only functions if the target willingly complies and requests the procedure. Yes, okay, so that's how idol was originally used, but obviously many things have happened since then. There's another, something about trap dogs, someone frees the dog, or it's a dragon, and then because they freed the dragon, they got burned, and then the dragon dog is king. Okay, I assume this will be relevant later on. Dangers of unleashing technology, something like that. Well, 2 more cases remain, but we will get to it next time. I assume it will all come together, right? We will come to understand why this whole thing has happened here, why they framed that guy, what they want to do. I assume might be something to do with them being like people who want to, release the technology. They don't want the restraint. They want to use the technology, and people who want to restrain it even more and maybe even completely remove it, right? So let me know in the comments if you enjoyed it, if you played the game, like how did you do with the scenarios, anything I missed, anything I still misinterpreted, and anything like that. Thank you to channel members for supporting the channel. And if you enjoy my content, consider liking or subscribing. And I'll see you soon on another adventure.